Thousands of anti-racism protesters marched on the streets of various cities in Britain. This comes after days of racist riots that targeted Muslims and migrants, which spiraled across the country. In London, protesters gathered outside Finsbury Park Mosque and the headquarters of the right-wing Reform Party on Saturday, as similar demonstrations took place across the United Kingdom. Anti-racism demonstrators outnumbered anti-immigration protesters. At Liverpool's waterfront, anti-racism demonstrators came face-to-face with anti-immigration protesters, with police moving to separate the two groups. Anti-immigration protesters raised slogans such as "English Lives Matter."
And everything I've been doing in the last 5-6 years has been about bringing communities together. So I personally feel safe, on the Wirral, because I feel like I'm surrounded by friends. But I think we can scale it up and make sure that we're reaching people we haven't reached before.
Demonstrators gathered outside Belfast City Hall in Northern Ireland. Members of the protest, including representatives of the civil and public services and the voluntary sector, marched through the streets with some banging drums.
I live here nearly about 23 years. First time I see it in my life. I always have here so many friends in North Ireland, never have no problem, nothing. But what I see last week is not nice for nobody from around the world.
Anti-racism protesters also came out on the streets of cities like Hull and Edinburgh. The demonstrations are a sharp contrast with last weekend, when anti-immigration protests turned into riots in many English cities and Northern Ireland's capital Belfast, with street violence breaking out, targeting Muslims and migrants. In the weeks since, anti-racism counter-protests have dwarfed anti-immigration gatherings, and several people involved in the riots have been sentenced to prison. Thousands of specialized police officers have been put on duty this weekend amid fears of unrest after 3 days of calm. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has asked the British police officers to remain on high alert for further unrest.
My message to the police and all of those that are charged with responding to disorder is maintain that high alert. I'm absolutely convinced that having the police officers in place these last few days in the right places, the swift justice that's being dispensed in our courts, have had a real impact. But we have to stay on high alert going into this weekend, because we absolutely have to make sure that our communities are safe.
Almost 600 people have been arrested so far for involvement in or online encouragement of attacks on Muslims, immigration and other sites, as well as police since last month. Data released by the Justice Ministry showed that more than 150 of those charged have already appeared in court. Dozens have already been jailed, with cases fast-tracked through the justice system. Charges have also been brought against people involved in counter-protests. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.